This is why nice guys finish last, and I'm going to give you exactly why and hope that after this video, you will stop doing this. What's really important for me to actually justify to you men that are listening to my channel in this video is a lot of women will tell you that they want a nice guy. And so I want to kind of distinguish the difference between the nice guy syndrome and an actual nice guy. For me, I would have never been with a man that wasn't a nice man. I would have never married a man that wasn't a nice man and had a lot of self-worth and self-esteem, of course. And so the difference between the two is the nice man that has self-esteem and self-worth knows how to also treat himself. So of course he knows how to treat a lady. But the nice man syndrome actually doesn't come from a lot of self-worth, comes from confusion, comes from lack. And this is where a lot of passive-aggressive behavior will come from, a lot of desires and needs of your needs not being met will come from. And this is where also where you think nice guys are nice men and oh, nice guys don't manipulate. Yes, actually they do in their own way. And so I'm going to actually talk about this in the video to clear up some of that confusion, because women do want a nice man. Period. Especially a woman that is looking for something more in her life and can meet you at a great place where she is in her life, and the same goes vice versa, guys. So I think that a lot of times when men hear nice guy, they're like, oh, they get on each other for being this nice guy. And I'm just like, but we really do want a nice guy. So I want to break down what this means. So a lot of times when we get into this nice guy syndrome, what we don't want to do, and what I see a lot happening in this nice guy syndrome, is we do in order to get. So if I do this for her and if I give this to her, I will receive attention. I will receive love. And so with that said, when we're doing and giving and it doesn't actually work out in our favor, we get disappointed, we get humiliated, or we get so terrified of actually doing things the right way. And we get to a point where we're just exhausted. Because it's exhausting to have to give and have to do all the time and not get your way, because this is not the way human interaction really works. Think about it. Your job, your boss, or you are the boss. You hire your employees, or your boss hired you for a reason, right? Because they saw something in you in the first place. But if you start to overcompensate and you're not getting paid for the things that you do, and you're staying after work and just literally no appreciation, nothing is compensating for your time, and you're just feeling drained. And then you show up the next day and your boss gives you more work and doesn't even thank you for doing what you've done. Or how about an employee, right? We're giving so much to this employee because you see so much opportunity in them, but they don't even see it in themselves. It's exhausting, right? So the same thing happens in relationships as well. The reason why I break it down like that is important, because a lot of times people are like, oh, well, then if I do and I give and do this and do this and do this, this means it's not the right woman for me. There's no accountability, because this is literally human psychology. It's the way that we perform in life. But when we talk about it in dating relationships, we expect everything to be handed us on a silver platter, and nothing freaking takes work, which is a lie. And that's why I want to do more videos about this, because there's so many men that are great, good-looking, established, well-mannered men, but they lead with the nice guy syndrome in the wrong way. And I want to break this habit for you once and for all in this video today, and so on. And if this is your first time visiting, I welcome you to subscribe. My name is Apollonia Ponti. I'm a dating, relationship, and life coach, and I'm the founder of ApolloniaPonti.com, and I've coached over 5,000 men all over the world and literally maximized so much results with my community and gotten so many results with men. So I want to ask you something. Are you someone that always says it's really nice to do good for others? And so this actually dabbles in the relationships that you have with women. So your mindset is thinking, I'm going to do nice and give to others in order for them to appreciate me. So what you subconsciously have trained yourself to do is seek appreciation by what you put out there and how you give to others, instead of seeking appreciation within yourself. a lot of times when I talk to men that have actually not haven't had this nice guy syndrome, they come from a background where they didn't have a father figure that has actually inherited good established traits within himself. And it literally gets passed along in our childhood, right? So some forms that will happen is either it becomes abusive or it becomes on the other side where it becomes passive. And so we think that if we are generous with our feelings, our needs, our money, and we give and give and give early in relationships, we give our power away. In turn, we think that this is how relationships work. And so what's really important is that if we start to give our power away in these relationships, because if we don't even know what power we uphold within ourselves, of course we're easily going to give our power away. And so with that said, a lot of times I found that men with nice guy syndrome want to make people love them, instead of just seeing that people will love you for who you are when you show up for you and stand firm in what you do. And I'm going to tell you what to do in this video. But it's really important that I justify this for a second, because in order to make someone love you, literally, there's no definition for that. It's impossible to make someone love you, because they can love you, but in order for you to force love on someone, it won't be sustainable. So a lot of times what I've seen with my men is that they get into this nice guy mentality because they didn't have this strong masculine role that played in their father. And so what happens from there is they don't know how to be the strong, grounded man that you really aspire to be. Or maybe you weren't part of a really big brotherhood community of men. You didn't know what you were passionate about. You didn't live courageously. You didn't live in passion to see conversations and communication happen in your life. And so what happens a lot too with men when they grow up, especially when they don't have a strong father figure in their life, is they sometimes will give their power away to their mother. And here's the thing, and I want to be really clear. Of course, we're going to love and respect our mother, but we give our power away to our mother, meaning that we inherit the things that we want her to see within us. So we get into this, I want to be the best man possible for my mother because she's strong. So then we forget that it's really about intentionally, purposely living instead of intentionally teaching ourselves to have that brotherhood and the manhood. And the reason why I say this is because I see this so much in my community, in our memberships, in our VIP, and this is why it's so important for me to bring together a big brotherhood community for men, because of the fact that men don't have this sometimes growing up. And so what happens is we think that we need to be this nice guy in order to adopt opposite of bad boy behaviors or victim or abusive behaviors that we've seen in our parents and our upbringing. Make sense? So instead, we look at this as, I don't want to be my father. What I want to do is I want to be opposite of my father. So we go to the other extreme where we then become passive in nature. And we say to ourselves that we will be on our best behavior possible, and we won't push ourselves to make mistakes, to push ourselves out of our comfort zone, to explore. And so because we're not pushing, we stay stuck into this nice guy mentality. And so what I ask you to do is to look at, if this rings a bell, look at how your father raised you and just tell yourself he did the best that he could do. Because now it's up to you to change the lineage, let's just say, for your children and really for yourself. Because a lot of times nice guys syndrome, they don't actually know how to attract a woman, especially a really good looking woman. Or you struggle standing up for yourself. You struggle with getting your needs met because you think that you are selfish if you ask for your needs to get met. So you're easily meant to really focus on people pleasing and getting those other people's needs met first. And so from there, you might avoid conflicts as well, and you're not probably justifying what it is that you want in your decision making, in your conversations, what your opinion is and what your voice is. So then your voice gets lost, and then it's kind of like, what is the essence of this person in front of me? When you start to date women and when you start to go out there and put yourself out there, you might even feel lost. Make sense? So what we want to make sure that we're doing is we want to understand where this is coming from. What are we avoiding? And then from there, a lot of times when we have this nice guy syndrome, we need to stop making other women and other people our emotional blanket. Because when we make someone else our emotional blanket and our center of happiness, then we aren't fulfilled within ourselves. So what person will find that desirable, right? Think about it. You want and you adapt and you magnify to people that have happiness and have something that you want or desire or you implement in your life as well and you find very attractive. So when we make our partner our own emotional blanket, what happens is then we give our power away, we give our control away, we give our desire away. And what's so important about this channel is there's so many times that men are hiding in their own power. They're scared to speak up. They're scared to get their needs met. They're scared because they don't know if they're going to be aggressive, like their father figure that they saw growing up or other things that they saw growing up. And so what happens is they depress their emotions. And there's a reason why this is so valuable in the work that I do. Because the suicide rate for men is 3.5 times higher than it is for women. And also substance abuse is also higher in men than it is in women as well. And literally there is a reason for this, and statistics don't lie. And so what's so important is to understand that men have a responsibility as well to hold other men accountable, to check in on their emotional stability, and actually not poke and make fun of men and put them down, but also help another brother out and lift him up. Because I can guarantee you that you've been through these same situations in your life, and you can't sit around being out alphaing other men and putting them down, because guess what? I'm sure you were there at one point of your life. And so what is so important about why I say that is because in this nice guy syndrome, there is a lot of depression that happens. There is a lot of thoughts that can go on where you seek addictions in other sources. And so a lot of men think, oh, nice guys, they're just boring. No. Actually, a lot of nice guys, they suppress emotions. So they turn to alcohol. They turn to pornography, right? And so it's not just about this nice guy. It's about what are we doing not to portray ourselves as a high value man and sticking up for ourselves and getting our own needs met and knowing who we are so we finally have that voice. And so when we suppress it long enough, it's really important for us to not continue to suppress it any longer. And this is why you're here with me now, because I want you to be part of this community. I want you to be part of our membership group where we have so many men that can help you and have this community. So one of the things that I ask you is to connect with other men. What's really important for men to do more than ever, especially if they didn't come from a really good upbringing from their own father, is connect with other men. And then 2 is find healthy role models. Right? Find healthy role models within yourself. And man, can I tell you, there is so much success that we have in our membership group with men literally becoming friends and hanging out. I get private messages on my DM with guys taking pictures of themselves that they met in the group and they're going out and having fun and they've learned from each other. I had 2 men that went through a divorce and went through deep depression and found each other in the Facebook group and actually became so they travel and they see each other and they go out, meet women. And guys, when we find healthy role models and we become a healthy role model, we also have a choice to pay that back. And so what's important is that we lift each other up in this. And so lastly, I want you to re-examine your relationships with your father. What are your relationships? How do you not let your voice be heard? Because a lot of times when women get in relationships with men that they don't like and they feel like, oh, I just lost the connection or I just lost the attraction, it's because there was too much responsibility that came with it. Yes, I said it. Too much responsibility came with it to be in charge of your emotions and to see your insecurities and to see a passive aggressive behavior. Literally, a guy showed me a text that he sent to his girlfriend, and his girlfriend posted something he posted something on social media that was directed at her. And she mentioned, I don't like what you posted. We just argued about this, and it's so wrong for you to say something like this because it's obvious that you meant it about what we were talking about. And he's like, LOL, I didn't even mean it like that. I didn't even think of it like that. That's passive aggressive behavior. You cannot lie and deny your needs and feelings and your insecurities and cover it up with that. And that's where we get shot down. Or, oh, I'm just not going to post anything then, he says. That's passive aggressive behavior. That's nice guy behavior. And when we're dismissing someone else's voice because your voice is being dismissed yourself. And so what I want you to do is I want you to list out 2 men in your life or people that you admire. And I want you to see and write about what do you admire within them that you might not uphold within yourself. Because once we do this, we can fix all around this nice guy mentality, because nice guys don't finish last. They really don't. The ones with the syndrome finish last because of the fact that you're not putting yourself first. Let me be clear about this. Nice guys women want. Nice guys with integrity, nice guys with self-esteem, nice guys with worth. But what I want you to really do is I want you to self-examine yourself right now. And I want you to ask yourself, how am I not putting my needs first? How am I looking at conflict? A lot of times we don't deal with conflict, quote unquote, which I just think it's communication, because you find out so much about each other when you have a difference in opinion and you share it, when you question someone's motives or something that they said, or actually stick up for yourself and say you don't agree, right? And this is a very, very big thing is I would really encourage you to book a session with me or one of our coaches to help you with this, because finding your voice is literally a road that you have to walk, and it's pretty windy until you can go straight. Because if you've compressed your voice for, let's say, 35 years your whole life, 25 years your whole life, what makes you think that your voice is going to be directed in the right way the first time you use it, right? It's about learning how to use your voice again. And that's why coaching is so prominent for people, for men, for women in general, is because we can help you through these processes. And so with that said, another thing that I want you to understand is you need to focus on the difference between what you are adapting to in your masculine energy. Because I'm not too sure a lot of men know what the masculine brings to a relationship as well as a feminine. Now, I have masculine energy and feminine energy. A man has masculine energy as well as feminine energy. But how do you bring these two components together to a relationship where there will be induced energy together, where there is seduction, where there is attraction? And this is what's really important, is because if we have too much masculine energy and too much feminine energy, what will happen is we don't do a dance, and I want you to think of this as a slow dance that you're doing with your partner, with a girl that you like. And so the masculine component stands strong, stands firm in who they are and what they know. They're decisive. They have emotions as well. They have feelings. They don't avoid conflict. And they also don't look at conflict as though I have to fight with this person. It's about, let me find out more about this person. So when we look at it as let me find out more about this person, what ends up happening is it ends up giving us a deeper level of connection with that person, because then we can possibly get into deeper conversations with this person. And then you can stand firm by knowing more about this person and finding out a lot about you. That moment that you push yourself to have that type of communication that you've never had before, it feels so gratifying no matter how it goes, because you've did it in the first place. And then for a man to show up in his feminine also too, to nurture a woman, to be soft with a woman, right? to handhold with a woman, to tell her, nice gestures, and also to open up with a woman emotionally is a beautiful thing. So a lot of men ask me, Apollonia, but how am I, if I'm going to be a nice guy, I can't open up to a woman emotionally, which is a crock of what? Because the reason why men think this, which I understand, is because we've taught also men to, I don't say we because I never did, but people have taught men to suppress their emotions. And so what kind of humans are we if we don't have any emotion? I mean, that means that we're robots, really. And this is why we fall into deep depressions. This is why we turn to substance abuse. And so what happens here is I want you to understand that your emotional needs will always be met when you meet them first, okay? And so in order to untangle this nice guy syndrome, let's recap what we need to do. We're going to reevaluate the situation that you've had with your upbringing and your father. We're going to find two men and get involved in a community that you have a brotherhood with. It can be my membership community. It can be a community outside of this, whatever it is. You're going to find, number 3, you're going to find two men, that you admire, and you're going to start hanging out with. And if you don't have two men that you admire, you're going to find two men that you do, or you're going to know people that are famous actors, poets, singers, whatever it is that you like, artists. You're going to write those down and tell yourself what are the traits that you like about them, right? And actually do that and actually compare yourself to those traits and see how you can get better with these traits. And 4, I want you to write down, how am I suppressing my needs, right? How am I suppressing my needs? And number 5 is, how am I not letting my voice be heard? Am I not sharing my opinion at work? Am I not sticking up for myself when they give me the wrong Starbucks coffee? Am I just taking it and saying, it's okay, I got it, and being convenience of others instead of a convenience for me? What if someone shows up late and you're there to pick them up for work and they're 15 minutes late, now you're late for work and you're like, oh, we're late, we gotta hurry up. No, listen, I'm 15 minutes late for work and I would have been here early. I would appreciate it if this doesn't happen again, or else I can't pick you up. How are we suppressing our needs? Those are examples. How are we hiding our voice? Those are examples, guys. And so now what I want you to do is, lastly, what are we giving to our relationships with women? In order to think that if I give money, if I give gifts, if I give emotion, if I give, and always serving as their emotional blanket, here's my emotional blanket, basically. How am I contributing to myself? So what are you giving that you're not giving to yourself? Because everything that you're giving to this woman, you need to start giving to yourself, and put that on timeout for a little bit if this is you. If you want to dive deeper with me, I would encourage you to also sign up and apply for the Algorithm of Attraction course, where I literally dive into all of this with you. And you can find out more about it in clicking the link below. If you want to get better with just women, I have more great content for you so you can actually continue to apply this stuff in your life. Check out this video right over here that I have specially made for you. And let's stop making those mistakes and download this free 7 common mistake ebook that I have made especially for you, so you can avoid making those mistakes that men make when attracting women. And I'll see you again in the next video.